Good morning from New York City. What's on my mind this morning, first and foremost, is my friend Dana. She left me a beautiful message the other day and she said, "Good morning from Beverly Hills. Here's what's on my mind. Life is good." And I just love that because Dana and I have the sort of relationship where we talk about the little things in life, the daily delights and annoyances, but we often talk about this fact that life is so interesting. So thanks for that message, Dana. Yeah, life is good. What's on my mind this morning, though, are a couple of things. One is something that my friend Eric often says, and it's this: no one cares about your finances and, in general, your personal administrative stuff more than you do. I'm thinking about it because one of the benefits of my new client is that I've been thrust into this period of great organizational focus, and that has spilled over into my personal matters. And yesterday I got so upset because I don't have an HSA. And for those of you not in the United States, an HSA is a health savings account. So there are tax benefits that allow you to put money aside to address any unexpected medical expenses. It's basically an advantageous savings account focused on health matters. And not only do I not have one, no one has ever mentioned it to me. And of course, that has me thinking of my friend Eric because my initial reaction inside was to want to point the finger at my accountant or my money manager, right? I guess I'm sharing this for two reasons. One is a public service announcement. If you do not have a health savings account, an HSA, here's your reminder that it is 100% tax deductible. And for anyone over the age of 55, you can add additional monies to that account every year. It's basically a no-brainer on your tax return. The other thing I'd say about that is, yes, Eric is right. He's often right about these kinds of things. It is our responsibility to take care of our own money and to direct the people that support us to ask those questions about our 401k, our Roth or solo 401ks, or whatever it is we have, including if you're an employee. You can make an appointment with someone in your company and review your situation. So anyway, I received a question from a Dear Constance listener, Megan in Chicago, and she said, "I'm very inspired by this new job you're doing, and I'd like to hear more." And I said, "What would you find interesting?" And her message back to me was about being experimental and bringing a beginner's mindset. And how did I know I wanted to do something like this? And then she said, "What are a couple of things that you were expecting and one thing that you're celebrating?" I thought I'd answer that question because maybe you are interested too. So, by way of background, I have taken on a new client and I'm doing something that I call private management. I am acting as a sort of ancillary support to their personal and business management. They have their financial managers and their lawyers and that sort of thing. And I'm working my way in to create order on the back end. I guess that's a good way to put it. So I liked Megan's point about the beginner's mindset and the experimental mindset. I did come to that with this idea because I'm not stepping into a clearly defined role. Now, that makes some people very uncomfortable. They like to know what's expected. They show up, do their job, and go home. And maybe it's not so much that as it is knowing what's expected and being able to deliver on clearly defined objectives. So I guess what I'd say is, if you know anything about me, you know that I talk a lot about the dance with uncertainty and the value and importance and willingness to be able to not only sit with uncertainty, but to turn on the curiosity faucet. That, and yes, I know that the not knowing can make one feel very uncomfortable. But at the same time, I think of it as a skill. And even if you think of yourself as a person who really operates best when you know what's expected, the openness and willingness and curiosity to sit with uncertainty is something you can work on and improve upon. But anyway, as it relates to me, I didn't come into this role with clearly defined objectives. They're quite loose. And one of the things that I tell myself, which is something that I always tell people that are going into a new job, when you have been hired or retained, in my case, the person or the organization that hires you has already decided that you are capable and competent. So when people go into a new job role and they feel like they have to prove themselves, they've got it all wrong in my mind. When you go into a new role, your job is to listen and learn. In fact, my friend, someone who I call my mentee, Charlie, started a new job, and it's a bigger job than he has ever had before. And while his fears were about, am I capable of doing this? I turned it around and helped him see why they hired him and that he doesn't need to know everything. They're very clear that they're hiring him because of the organization he's coming from. They've interviewed a lot of people. They have positive expectation about him. And like I said before, his job as he started his new role was simply to listen, learn, observe, and ask good questions. And it's funny, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I'm going on a little bit too long. I'm circling back to what Megan had said, talk about the beginner's mindset. When you go into a new situation, if you can bring that beginner's mindset, which in many ways is about being comfortable with not knowing and being open and asking good questions, it can be very valuable. I love that Suzuki quote. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's, there are few. I just love that. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's, there are few. So to bring this full circle, I'll close with talking about what I was expecting and what I'm celebrating. I was expecting that I would do well at quickly earning trust. That is a through line in my professional life. And the other thing, of course, is that I know that I'm competent and organized, and I felt quite confident that I would be able to forge a role for myself. That's still a work in progress, but I think we're on a good path. In terms of what I'm celebrating, a lot of it comes down to knowing my worth. I'm not as reactive. I don't feel like I need to prove my worth. I know my worth. I'm not internalizing things, and that's resulting in me showing up much calmer and probably a lot more reassuring than I have been in the past. And I feel like I'm able to pace my energy in a different way now. That feels good. That's something I'm celebrating. The other thing I'm celebrating is I feel like I've stumbled into a new business for myself. I certainly didn't expect it. And I'm so glad I didn't dismiss this opportunity when it came up, that I was able to find my openness and curiosity. It's funny, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I think a good thing that captures the essence of this project is what's old is new. Yeah, I like that. And I think that's a perfect title for this episode. What's old is new. Lastly, the thing that I'm most celebrating is the ripple effect this project is having in my personal life. I'm more focused, more energized. I'm eager to learn new things. It's really triggering my resourcefulness in so many areas of my life, including what I started with. I promise I won't go on and on about this, but it is something that is top of mind. It feels really good to take care of business. You don't have to do it all at once, but just make that list of those things you know you need to be paying attention to. The HSA, the 401k, reading the fine line on your health insurance, the review of your bank account or your credit card for those pesky recurring charges, the subscriptions you're not utilizing, the apps you don't even open, you forgot you had. Just do it. It feels great. And I think that's the perfect place to end. That's all for now. Until next time, from my heart to yours.